Most aftermarket supercharger kits maintain the stock Ford throttle body, which is restrictive and requires the supercharger to work harder in order to achieve a given amount of airflow. The Edelbrock kit comes standard with a huge free-flowing 85mm electronic throttle body. In addition, our throttle body is built to OEM standards with a 356 T6 cast aluminum housing, brass throttle blade, and glass-filled nylon injection-molded gearing. Other aftermarket throttle bodies utilize machined gears, which are known to bind and cause dangerous stuck throttle conditions. Our injection-molded gears are made to the same material and dimensional specifications and tolerances as the factory Ford unit, ensuring safe, reliable operation. Axial flow positive displacement superchargers have conventionally been arranged in one of two ways: front drive rear inlet or rear drive front inlet. Each has its drawbacks. With the rear inlet, the air has to be routed from the filter box, typically at the front of the car, all the way back to the rear of the supercharger. This long path with lots of bends is very restrictive. The supercharger is driven off the crank pulley at the front of the engine. Rear drive requires the use of a jack shaft and an auxiliary drive belt at the back of the supercharger. These systems are notorious for failures. On the Edelbrock supercharger, the rotors are installed from the rear of the housing, as in a rear drive front inlet setup. However, instead of using a jack shaft and driving the supercharger from the rear, a front drive setup is utilized and coupled to the end of the rotor shaft for a very simple, reliable, and elegant setup, which combines the short, straight inlet path of a front inlet configuration with the reliable and compact front drive method. The bypass valve is a vacuum-actuated throttle plate that divides the inlet and outlet plenums of the supercharger. Under normal driving conditions, when horsepower demand is low, the valve is held open by manifold vacuum. This equalizes the pressure before and after the supercharger rotors, minimizing any parasitic power loss associated with pumping air. That means that as long as the valve is open, the engine does not use any more fuel than it would if the supercharger were not installed, so your long commute to work will still use the same amount of gas as before. When you step on the accelerator pedal and the throttle body opens, the manifold will lose vacuum and the bypass will close. This allows all intake air to pass through the supercharger rotors and for positive boost pressure to build up in the plenum. What makes the Edelbrock bypass unique is its integration into the supercharger housing. Many competitive kits use external bypass valves that utilize couplers or gaskets that can leak, leading to dangerous lean running conditions down the road. At the heart of the new Edelbrock EFORCE Supercharger are the new Eaton TVS rotors. They represent the cutting edge of technology in the world of supercharger design. They feature a 4-lobe configuration and a full 160 degrees of twist. This improves both volumetric and thermal efficiency, meaning that with each revolution, the maximum airflow is achieved with the minimum of effort from the engine, and with minimum temperature rise in the charge-in. That translates to more horsepower to the ground more consistently. These new rotors also operate much quieter than any other rotors on the market, so there is no annoying whine, gear rattle, or other undesirable NVH. Once air exits the supercharger rotors and is pressurized in the plenum, it passes through the enormous 110 square inch intercooler. Cool water flowing through the intercooler core absorbs heat from the pressurized air. This increases the density of the air and reduces the volatility of the fuel air charge entering the combustion chamber. That means that there is more oxygen available to burn fuel, and the spark can be further advanced, both resulting in increased horsepower. Just like in a normally aspirated intake manifold, longer runners maximize low-end torque. Packaging the supercharger down low in the valley of the engine and orienting the outlet of the supercharger upward allows for a long, smooth intake runner path with minimal bends. Edelbrock went one step further and designed an interlaced cross-runner pattern, resulting in a full 15 inches of runner length with no sharp bends. Conventional supercharger systems mount the supercharger on top of the manifold and blow the air down towards the bottom of the engine valley. The air then has to make a tight 180-degree turn back upward, and then yet another 180-degree turn back downward into the vertical intake ports of the 3-valve cylinder head. That conventional orientation also leaves little width for the intercooler down in the valley. Edelbrock's unique inverted design results in more low-end torque and considerably less restriction, allowing much more airflow at far lower boost pressures. In fact, the Edelbrock supercharger system requires as little as half the amount of boost that competitive kits generate to make the same power. When installing the Edelbrock supercharger, there is no oil plumbing to worry about. No drilling and tapping of oil pans like with centrifugal supercharger kits, which can leak and result in engine failure. Also, the 100,000 mile service interval means that you won't have to worry about changing the supercharger oil for a long time. The Edelbrock Supercharger Kit comes complete with a fully mapped calibration, delivered in a handheld programmer. The programmer allows you to download the tune directly to your vehicle's PCM through the OBD diagnostic port under your dashboard. Unlike other systems, the programmer is ready to go in the box. There is no sending away for the tuning module and no need to ship your PCM out for programming. You can install the kit and have it running the same day you receive it. The programmer also offers customization options to correct your speedometer for different wheel and tire sizes or gear ratios. The calibration itself has been painstakingly developed specifically for your vehicle in Edelbrock's in-house engine dyno laboratory, on our in-house chassis dyno, and on the road. It has been tested in all atmospheric conditions, including hot weather, cold weather, and high altitude. This is not a weekend job that you'd receive at a local tuning shop on a chassis dyno only in a single atmospheric condition. This is a complete OEM level calibration that meets 50 state emission standards and maintains all factory electronic throttle safety features. This system is a direct bolt-on addition to your stock engine. There are no modifications required to your bottom end or cylinder heads. Be wary of competitors that require cutting of your cylinder heads, alternator, and oil pan. In addition, the low boost levels generated by the Edelbrock Supercharger allow you to enjoy the same horsepower without requiring bottom end upgrades necessitated by higher boost pressures. The entire system can be installed with basic hand tools in approximately 10 hours. The Edelbrock Supercharger features a uniquely detailed manifold that looks great under the hood. A great looking manifold alone, however, does not make your engine compartment show ready. The stock Ford engine compartment is littered with hoses and wires. The Edelbrock kit comes complete with matching side covers that complement the supercharger manifold and complete a seamless, show-ready look under the hood. True to the Edelbrock name, this supercharger kit contains everything you need to install it on your vehicle. Every piece of hardware, every hose, every wiring harness, even special tools are included in the box. That means no trips to the hardware store, no need for custom tuning, just follow the detailed instruction manual and bolt it on. In addition to the necessities, this kit comes complete with additional components that our competitors consider upgrades and either charge you extra for or send you shopping somewhere else. For instance, included in the kit is our exclusive 85mm throttle body described earlier. It's not a necessity, but we threw it in. Others charge as much as $600 for their upgraded throttle body. Other included upgrades are high flow fuel injectors, colder heat range spark plugs, matching side covers, upgraded mass airflow sensor, and more. Last but not least, included in the Edelbrock Supercharger kit is peace of mind. Not only because of the intense testing and no compromises attitude toward quality that has made this system bulletproof, not only because of the Eaton TVS rotors that have been designed and tested to the rigorous standards of OEM customers such as the Corvette ZR1 design team, but also because the Edelbrock name is standing behind this product, guaranteeing it with an available 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty that ensures zero risk when installing the system on your brand new vehicle. In addition, this system is designed to comply with emission standards in all 50 states for all model years, including those that are equipped with the factory carbon trap. In fact, the Edelbrock Supercharger system requires as little as half the amount of boost that competitive kits generate to make the same power.